Hey there, adventurers. Welcome to Let's Just Go podcast. I'm Kayla, and this week we're talking about the Disney dining plan. So this is something I touched on in a recent episode when I was talking about the cost of going to Walt Disney World in 2026. And I really wanted to dive into specifically what is included with the dining plan, what your dining plan options are, and whether or not it's a worthwhile thing to purchase ahead of your trip versus just paying out of pocket. I will say the thing to keep in mind with the dining plan is that it's not for everyone, and you are going to know best for your own group whether or not it's a worthwhile thing. I've done lots of trips without the dining plan. I've done trips with the dining plan, and it really just comes down to what exactly you're planning on doing with your time and whether or not it's worthwhile for you. So, I'm going to talk about the different types of things that are included in the dining plan, and then we'll go into the different types of dining plans. So you've got snacks. Snacks are going to be things like getting some popcorn, getting a soda, a coffee. Like if you go to a Starbucks location, almost anything at a Starbucks location is going to be a snack unless you're getting like a sandwich, a Mickey bar, a scoop of ice cream, some fruit, a bag of chips, a pastry. Let's say you want a cupcake or a cookie. They all are going to be snacks. Also, if you go to an Epcot festival and there are food booths, a lot of times many of the things at those food booths are snacks. And they will have a little purple icon next to them that say that they are eligible to be used as a snack credit. So my favorite use of snack credits is going to be really, I love going to an Epcot festival and getting all of the snacks there. But it's also a really great way if you want to have like a nice like latte or espresso beverage. That's a really good way to use a snack. If you want to just grab a light breakfast, usually a snack is a good use of that. So like let's say you just wanted to grab like a cinnamon roll or a croissant. That's a great use of it. If you're a popcorn fiend, like some people are, grabbing popcorn is great. There are so many options. If you're an energy drink person, there are energy drinks in the parks, and those count as a snack as well. But not all snacks are created equal, and I think that's something that's really important to keep in mind. You can have snacks that you would pay out of pocket $4 for, and you can have other snacks that you would pay out of pocket $10 for. So one snack credit is not created equal. What I like to tell people to do when they have too many snack credits left over at the end of their stay is to get the pre-bagged candy or Rice Krispie treats or caramel apples. Those are all things that count as snack credits, and they're a great way to use them up to bring something home that either you can gift to somebody or, you know, just have when you're feeling down about the fact that you had to leave Walt Disney World. So that's just something to keep in mind what a snack credit is. Then we've got quick service meals. And so snacks are the same for everybody. No matter how young or old you are, a snack is a snack is a snack is a snack. When it comes to Disney's ages, if you are 10 or older, you are classified as an adult in terms of the dining plan, in terms of your park tickets. If you are 3 to 9, you are considered a child. And then if you are under the age of 3, you're basically, I'm not going to say not a person, but like you don't have a cost associated with you. So if you have a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old, or an infant in your group, they do not count towards your dining plan. They do not need park tickets. That's just something to keep in mind in terms of the cost of things. So a quick service meal, if you are an adult, which means you are 10 and older, your quick service meal will be 1 entree and 1 beverage. And if you are an adult that is over the age of 21, that beverage can be alcoholic. So this means you go to a quick service location and they've got a burger and fries. That's an entree. They've got a salad. That's an entree. They've got, I don't know, chicken and rice. That's an entree. So it's going to be whatever's coming packaged together essentially. So maybe you just want chicken tenders and fries for every single meal. That's fine. That is an entree. And then you can get 1 alcoholic or non-alcoholic beverage. So that can be a fountain drink. That can be a bottled beverage. So maybe they have apple juice or orange juice bottled. You can grab one of those. And then it can also be an alcoholic beverage. So maybe you're going to Pandora and you want to get their specialty beer. You can do that. There's also a specialty wine. That could be your beverage as well. So if you are an adult who consumes alcohol, this is probably going to be a big net savings for you, knowing that your meals are going to include an alcoholic beverage. And it doesn't have to be an alcoholic beverage that you're drinking right now. A lot of the quick service locations at the hotels have bottled beer. They have the like little bottles of wine, or even the canned pre-made cocktails. So it doesn't mean that you have to drink it with your meal, just something to keep in mind. So then ages 3 to 9 for a quick service meal is going to be any of the children's meals. So they do need to order specifically from the children's menu. Also keeping in mind, if you have a 10-year-old that doesn't eat a lot, it doesn't matter. They're going to be classified as an adult and they're going to have the adult priced options. That doesn't mean they can't get a kid's meal. If they really want a kid's meal, you can use an adult credit for a child's meal. But I wouldn't suggest it. It's not a great use of your credits. So something to keep in mind with quick service meals is that a dessert is not included in a quick service meal. So if you really want to get that magic bar or that cookie or that cupcake, that is going to count as a snack if you're at a quick service location. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, table service, you get a lot for table service. If you are 10 and above, you get one entree. You get one beverage, alcoholic or non-alcoholic. That includes things like a milkshake. You can get a milkshake if that's what you want. And then one dessert. If you are doing breakfast, dessert is not included. But if you are doing brunch, lunch, or dinner, dessert is included. Guests 3 to 9, again, it's going to be a kids menu item. So they cannot order an adult menu item. It needs to be something on the children's menu, which usually for table service has a pretty like wide variety, which I appreciate. Where quick service, it's typically a very small handful of things. So your kids should be able to find something that they're going to enjoy. Something to keep in mind is if something is buffet or family style, the full prefix meal is included. So if you're going to Whispering Canyon and they're bringing out the platter of meats and everything, you all just have to agree to the one type of prefix meal that you want, and then one table service credit will be taken for each person. Keep in mind, there are a lot of caveats to these table service meals. So keep it in mind. We're going to talk about it, but I want to make sure you know not all table service meals are created equal. You also, every dining plan gets a soda cup, for lack of a better way to describe it. So you get a refillable mug that you can use at your resort, or if you go to any other resort, actually. So let's say that you're staying at Art of Animation, but you walk over to Pop Century and get dinner there one night, you can take your refillable mug with you there. So it can be used for the entirety of your stay. Each person gets one. Make sure that you go pick it up from your quick service location at your hotel relatively shortly after you check in, so that you don't accidentally pay for one when you don't need to. You'll just say, hey, I have the dining plan. I'm using my credits to get my refillable mugs, and they'll give them to you. So how do the credits work? You have a set number of meals per night of your stay. So it's not per day, it is per night. You can use them however you want. There's not a set number that you have to use every day. It's a matter of you check in, everything is preloaded. If you are 2 adults and you are staying for a week, you are going to have 14 of fill in the blank credits because you've got one for each person per night. And again, I'm going to go into the specifics of the actual plans because there are 2 different plans, but they can be used however you want. If you have a day where all you do is snack, that's fine. If you have another day where you want to do a bunch of table service meals, you can do that too. But they will expire at midnight on the day that you check out. So you have to make sure that everything is used by the time midnight strikes on the day you check out. Also, as a note, Everyone on the reservation needs to have the same dining plan. You can't have some people not have it and some people have it, or some people have the standard dining plan and some people have the quick service dining plan. Like, that's not an option. Everyone has to have the same dining plan. So keep in mind, you can stack things if you want to. You don't have to. You can really eat however you want to eat. You can also use a table service credit on a quick service meal. I don't really know why you would do that, but it is an option, and I have seen people do it. For those of you who don't know, I actually used to work at a restaurant at Wilderness Lodge many, many moons ago. So while the dining plan has changed in the last so many years, 15, 16 years, it is something that I am relatively well versed in. So how much is it going to cost? This is going to vary dramatically based on how long your stay is, how many people you have traveling, and all of that. Also in 2026, children's dining plans, if they are between the ages of 3 and 9, are included in the cost if you are booking a dining plan. So if you've got 2 adults and 3 children on your trip and you're paying for 2 adults to have the dining plan, those 3 children's dining plans are free. There's obviously fine print with all of that. If it's something you want to know more about, reach out to me and I'm happy to tell you. But that is the case in 2026. The dining plan for children is included in the cost as long as the adults are paying for their dining plan. So what I like about the dining plan is that it's a matter of just prepaying for your food. You're not having to stress about how much money you're going to spend once you get there. It's really just a matter of, all right, I already paid for it when I paid for my package, and now I know how much I can eat during this trip. I really like that because it takes the stress out of having to keep track of exactly what you're spending and making sure that, you know, you haven't gone over budget or that you're not under budget, whatever that may look like. It does make your trip more expensive from the jump when you book it, and it does have to be purchased for the entire party, but it's prepaying and then you get there and you don't have to worry about it. And it's really the closest you can get to an all-inclusive situation at Disney, which I really appreciate. So when it comes to the price of the dining plan, again, this is 2026. I want to keep that in mind. This is going to vary depending on when you're actually listening to this, how big your party is. But I have a calculator that I have found online that breaks down the cost. And I'm going to tell you, one adult for a 1-week trip. Okay, so let's talk about what's included in the different dining plans. So there's the Disney quick service dining plan. This is going to be 2 quick service meals per night of stay, 1 snack per night, and then 1 resort refillable mug. If you do the Disney dining plan, which is the standard plan, that's going to give you 1 quick service, 1 table service, and 1 snack per night. And then again, that resort refillable mug. So if you were to do the quick service plan, which is the 2 quick service meals, 1 snack, and the mug for 1 adult for an entire week, you're looking at about $400. If you were to do the standard Disney dining plan, which gives you 1 quick service, 1 table service, and 1 snack per night, and that mug, you're looking at roughly $660 or so. So keep in mind, if you are having children come with you in the year 2026, their cost is included. You're not paying extra for them to have the dining plan as long as the adults have the dining plan. So let's talk about how this is going to affect the way that you budget. If you are the kind of person that wants to fly by the seat of your pants and not worry about having a dining plan, then you're going to have until your trip or potentially after to figure out how much you're spending. Maybe you're just going to use a credit card and worry about it later. YOLO. A lot of people live their lives that way. I personally don't find anything wrong with that, but that is how some people choose to do things. Or you can put the dining plan as part of your package, and then it'll be the $200 deposit, just like it would be for a standard package. Your balance would be due 30 days prior to arrival, and you can make those payments leading up to that 30-day mark. That will have that cost included. keep in mind, once you have arrived, you cannot add the dining plan. It has to be added to your package prior to arrival. So if this is something that you want to do, you need to make sure you're booking it before you arrive at Walt Disney World. Okay, so let's talk about the let's call it the psychology of it all, right? So if you have the dining plan, it's sort of like girl math where like you feel like it's free because you already paid for it. You're not having to worry about how much money you're spending on food every day. As a parent, you can say yes to things a lot easier because you know what's included, and you're not having to consistently be concerned about how much money you're spending on food during your trip. If you don't use the dining plan, you might spend less money because you may be a little more cognizant of what you're spending money on and what you're not. You're then responsible for making those payments while you were on your trip. And the daily totals of what you're spending can end up being unpredictable because maybe one day you have a really expensive table service meal and the next day you only have snacks and quick service meals. So it's a trade-off there. One of the biggest downsides is that people aren't hungry. They don't want dessert. They're feeling like they have to get exactly the right items so that they're spending the most money possible to negate the cost of the dining plan itself. Or they're booking table service restaurants when they don't actually want to have a table service meal and they're realizing they'd rather just have a quick service meal. So again, you know best in terms of whether or not it's worthwhile for your group. But I know for me, the dining plan is a good cost because I do like to have dessert with my table service meals, and I do like to have a drink when I have my meal, and all of those things work well for me. Where I know that my mother, for example, is going to have a couple of bites and then she's going to be done. And I'm not going to say it's a waste of money for her because for her, she likes to have the ability to have it prepaid, but she also recognizes that she would be spending more by doing the dining plan than she would be if she just purchased what she was going to eat throughout the day. Because she's the kind of person where like I would get a breakfast sandwich and she would get a pastry. And obviously those costs are going to have a big difference when it comes to quick service things as well. Like she may not want a burger and fries. She may only want the burger. So she doesn't want to have to pay for the fries. Where for me, I want the burger and the fries. So again, this is really a matter of like what makes sense to you and your group. So, is it worth it? If you want to do character meals, if you like having table service, if you typically have alcohol with your meals and you want to have that structure of knowing that you've already paid, then it's great. That is a perfect fit for you. And I absolutely think you should do the dining plan. If you mostly quick service, you're a light eater, you don't drink, and you don't want to worry about reservations, it may not make sense to you. It may not be the best fit for your group, and maybe we don't do the dining plan. So keep in mind, if you are going to do the dining plan, make sure that the snacks are being used on higher priced items. So if it's something that's only going to cost you a couple of dollars, I would suggest not using a snack credit on it. But if you're going to go get something fancy, like, again, I was talking about the festival booths, great time to use your snacks. Especially some of these snacks can be like $15. Like that's just it's so much. It's such a good use of your snack credit. When it comes to table service, character dining is a fantastic time to use a table service credit. I would say prefixed meals. So if it's a buffet or it's a family style, that's also going to be a great use. When it comes to lower priced things, it really sort of depends. So like I really love Kona Cafe for breakfast, but Kona Cafe is not a great use of table service credits when it comes to getting breakfast, because you can go use that same credit somewhere else like Topolino's at Riviera, and you're getting characters, a prefixed meal, and it's breakfast and it's only a single credit. So it's a great use versus Kona Cafe, even though, like I said, I love Kona Cafe. So one thing to keep in mind is that I'm not going to say a lot of restaurants. I don't know what the exact percentage of restaurants are, but there's a good chunk of restaurants that are actually 2 table service credits. So if you want to dine at Cinderella's Royal Table and see the princesses, that is 2 dining credits. If you want to go to California Grill and be able to see Magic Kingdom from your table, that's going to be 2 table service credits. So the more specialty restaurants are going to be 2 table service credits, which if you're not planning on eating as many table service meals, the Disney dining plan may be a good use for you because you can have those more elevated experiences, but you're not feeling like you have to have as many meals since you're doubling them up. I realize that sort of threw a wrench in this probably for some of you, but don't worry. That's what a travel advisor is for. We're here to help you and make sure that you have an understanding of this and that it makes sense for your family or whatever group you're traveling with to do the dining plan or not do the dining plan. Keep in mind that you can make your dining reservations 60 days in advance, and you really should know what meals you're wanting to have before you really decide on the plan. Because you may be like, no, actually, really, I just want to eat at Kona Cafe for breakfast one day, and then I want quick service meals for the rest of it. And so you're like, actually, I'll do the quick service plan instead of the Disney dining plan because it's going to make better use of my credits. So keep that in mind. Misconceptions. It's not going to save everyone money. If you have children, it will probably save you money this year. If you are not a light eater, it could potentially save you money. If you like to drink or you like to have desserts with your table service meals, it will probably save you some money. Also, a common misconception is that you have to use your credits every day, and that's not true. You get them all front loaded, and then you get to decide how to use them as you go about your trip. I will say it's not unlimited, so keep that in mind. And it's not as complicated as it seems. And like I said, your travel advisor is there to help you. Really, the dining plan is a tool for you to have during your trip. It's not a requirement that you need to have it. And if you don't have the dining plan, you're going to have the worst vacation ever. Like, absolutely not. That is not the case. The dining plan is really, it's a good deal for the right type of eater. It can go either direction, again, based on what you're planning on doing. I have clients traveling right now. They know that they didn't want the dining plan because they don't eat a lot of table service meals. They have 2 for their entire week. And I have another family that just traveled a couple of weeks ago, and they did the dining plan because they have children and it was included in the price. So they ended up actually saving a decent amount of money. And even then, they still ended up with extra credits that they took home snacks so that people back home could enjoy the Rice Krispie treats and the bags of candy. And they also had, water bottles and things for their trip to the other parks when they were done at Disney. So really, it depends on your specific situation. I want you to keep that in mind. There's no right or wrong way to do Disney, especially when it comes to the dining plan. It really does just depend on your specific situation. But if you're unsure about whether or not you should book the dining plan, maybe you have some additional questions, which I totally get, because while this is me explaining it, I can't answer every single question in a single podcast episode. Reach out. That's what I'm here to help you with. And until next time, let's just go.